Welcome to Breakpoint, the ServiceNow Developer Podcast.
Hello, ServiceNow admins, builders, developers, and curious individuals that I say with the utmost love and respect. Welcome to, or welcome back to the Breakpoint Podcast, the ServiceNow Developer Podcast, where we bring you all the latest tools, tips, tradecraft to accelerate your developer career. My name is Lauren McManaman, Senior Developer Advocate. But before we dive into today's amazing topic, we need to address the elephant in the room, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a keen Breakpoint viewer or listener, you will have noticed that the last episode, the solo episode on agentic AI, which I will admit did very well, came out at the end of January. So there's been a bit of a break in the action. Unfortunately, I wasted all the momentum we got from the agentic AI episode, but it wasn't without a specific purpose. Basically, at the end of January, our team of developer advocates at ServiceNow found ourselves on an interesting precipice of some really massive changes that were being made to our team. Not only did our team basically double in size, but our role in the company has also grown independent of our numbers. So basically, we're kind of suffering from our own success, which is definitely a very good thing. But with all these new people, new expectations, we as a team really needed to dedicate more times to assessing our programs, our processes, and kind of spending some cycles on figuring out what could be the best way forward. And that included thinking about things like Breakpoint. But of course, spending time with those takes time away from other projects. So one thing led to another. We started focusing on Yokohama and then knowledge. But now here we are. Not only have we made it through this reprioritization and rebirth, how appropriate, right after on the tail of Easter, but also we made it successfully through knowledge prep. So we couldn't think of a better time to bring back Breakpoint. We are so happy to have you here in this eye of the storm right before things kick off next week for Knowledge 2025. So with that all being said, thank you for rejoining me. Thank you for your patience. And now it's time to pivot to our two amazing guests of the day, which are my new teammates, Travis Toulson and Allen Andreas. How are y'all doing today?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Super excited. Thank you so much for bringing us on.
Well, we are thrilled to have you on the podcast. Obviously, you've been on my teammates now for quite a little bit of time, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't dedicate some time to introducing you to our Breakpoint audience. So we will, at least for this initial question, go in kind of order of hire. So Travis, introduce yourself to the audience and kind of give them a little bit of background on yourself if they haven't already seen you through content that you did beforehand or things like that.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Travis Toulson. I am outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, and I kind of got my start in the IT industry a little bit late. I actually started out in the Marine Corps as a mechanic, meandered through a few different jobs, and ended up here on the ServiceNow platform. You might be more familiar with my content from codecreative.io and elsewhere in the ServiceNow community.
Awesome. Well, I didn't know this was the former servicemen episode because we also have Alan. So, Alan, give us a little hint into your background as well.
Yeah. I wasn't. I didn't know that they, ServiceNow did this military onboarding for quick spiel here. But yeah, so Travis and I both were in the Marine Corps. Although actually we've never talked. So real quick, Travis, when were you in?
Ooh.
What years were you in?
03 to 08. How about you?
Okay, so I was in '04 to 2012. So we were actually both in the same time period, but we just must not have crossed paths. Even though the Marine Corps is the smallest branch of the military, there are different duty stations out there. So anyway, so random kind of aside there, but the main thing for me, yeah, so I'm Alan Andreas. Joined the team in February, so I'm a few months in now at this point. I've been in the ServiceNow ecosystem for about 11 years at this point. After getting out of the Marine Corps, I tried to find my own way out there. I was in the Marines, I did administration. So I was the pay chief, the admin chief of offices there. And when I got out, I went into administration, office management, that type of thing. Ended up falling into a job where they were using ServiceNow, but not at my specific location. And so I tend to ask a lot of questions like, hey, why does the form work this way? Or why does this button do that? And so over a period of time of me kind of bugging them with those kinds of changes or suggestions, they said, hey, why don't you go to the admin course and become an system administrator for that area of the business that we're at. And so I ended up going to the course, and that's how I got started. And so kind of fast forward 11 years, I've became a certified master architect. I've got several other certifications as well. I'm currently number 3. There's a lot of people chugging right behind me, but I'm currently number 3 lifetime on the community
Whoa.
forums. So a lot of people, if you go on the forums and you look at the leaderboard, you'll see me there as number 3. But I've also been known for creating content on Allen Innovation, which is a ServiceNow focused YouTube channel, where I created videos that covered different gaps in the community as far as like the content that usually tends to be more technical leaning, screen sharing. So then I kind of went in the other direction and covered videos about how to find a job, how to be an architect, how to be an admin, and those types of videos, to really try to level up the community. And so not to ramble on, but that's a bit about me. And Travis and I both were really advocates before even getting this job here. So it's just awesome to be recognized by ServiceNow and then brought on and lifted up to just basically be given a bigger microphone at this point.
Yeah. That's a really cool thought process too, of like how you became an advocate as well. So I want to kind of focus on that question a bit. I'll ping back over to Travis. What made you specifically want to be a developer advocate here at ServiceNow? Because again, like Alan was saying, you're kind of doing similar advocacy or evangelistic work in the field already. So what kind of made you want to pivot to the big spaceship itself?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, it was the best part of my job outside of ServiceNow. Like, I always looked forward to being able to put out a new article or a new video, help people in the community. I mean, it is so much fun just interacting with the community, helping people out. And so I always kind of dreamed of being able to make that my full-time job. But I didn't know that the developer advocate position existed for a while. So I had to find it first. But once I realized it, I was like, that's what I want to do. And of course, we have such a great team here, and I just wanted to be a part of it.
Similar path for you as well, Alan?
Yeah, just to be funny but not funny. It's kind of the cool kids club, right? You got all these awesome people from different parts of ServiceNow. You've got, like yourself, Lauren, who came from solution consultancy into the role you're in now and doing developing, and then Earl, who's just been an awesome advocate, from higher education to where he is now, and then Christy being on the team, just showing the breadth of the team in the different areas, and then Pranav out in India there, kind of holding up that side. And so when the position opened up, it was one of those once in a lifetime type of chances, right? It's not something the team isn't always going to be able to expand. It may be on a small hiatus here before it can even expand again. We've all got to
Mhm.
show that ROI and maybe try to help expand it outright. But the point here is that, for me, it's validation on the skill set that I bring, and it's really respect from ServiceNow to say, hey, we've saw what you've done over the years. We've reviewed your portfolio. We believe in your messaging, what you've been doing. You align to our core values here at ServiceNow. And it's, I've always said it, and I do a lot of walks after work with my wife, and we would always take walks and talk. And she would say, you do all these videos, you do all this stuff. What could help you more? What else could help you?
Mm.
And I always said, man, if I could just be endorsed by like ServiceNow, if I could just
Mm.
get their like tagline and get their messaging and marketing team behind me, and I think I could just really skyrocket from here. And so with this position, it really is the rocket fuel that we need as advocates and as evangelists on the platform to just get our message out there.
Awesome. Well, as two former MVPs as well, you were also very close knit with our overall like internal ServiceNow community. But are there any big surprises that you have had after joining the company and stuff? I think that's always something that people are kind of interested in, is like, how is the sausage made? Like, are there any like wild differences that you were not expecting when you joined Service? If not, that's okay. I was just wondering if there were.
So for me, like on the outside, it's ServiceNow.
Mm.
On the inside, it's like this team that there's so many people.
Oh, the
Like it is
size. Yeah.
so huge and like trying to like it just it is mind-boggling every time I'm like working with different product managers and it's like, well, this person doesn't know that person. It's so much bigger on the inside. It's like a TARDIS.
It is like a TARDIS. It's very organized, very blue on the outside, and then on the inside, it's just never ending. I think one of the like easiest examples of that is currently we're prepping for knowledge, and as you know, when you take a knowledge lab, you get an instance of ServiceNow for that specific lab. The team that manages those labs is a different team than the team that manages the labs for our salespeople. And if something is broken in the lab, that's a different team than if something is broken in the instance, like imaging of the lab. So that, and that's just for like one thing. So imagine that at a huge scale. It's pretty wild. Alan,
Okay.
any surprises for you?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, just to kind of narrow it down to just this team, right? Because a lot of people want to know like
Mm,
what really is going on. So
yeah.
you guys do a freaking crap ton of stuff. What the heck is going
I
on
mean,
from the
we
outside?
do a crap load of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, now it's we. Yeah, I got myself into some shenanigans here apparently, but, from the outside, it's like, "Oh, they just go on stage, and then they release some videos, and it's all just
Yeah.
and it's like a machine," and that no inside, I mean, there's so many meetings going on, and people need your opinion on this and assistance with that, and then we've got a great, amazing community team. There are so many other people involved that I had no idea. So I know for me
Mhm.
personally, mission for the next like 90 days is I just want to make sure that I'm highlighting some of the other team members that are doing stuff because it's so
Yeah.
many people involved. You know, they say that whole phrase, it takes a village. It really
Mhm.
does. There's so many other people here. But to really get to know you all has been just a blessing and a big deal to me because it shows, hey, we're humans, we're people as well. We've got different things going on.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say to those that are wondering, because I know it's a big question, does Lauren actually like her dog? Does she value her dog? Yes, she does. The dog Bo makes numerous appearances on meetings, and she does love it. Although I don't know if the dog is in the background right now,
He
but
is. He's
He
right
good enough.
is.
there. He's
So
licking my
there you go.
sock if you're not watching the
Like a
video. He's
pillow. It's just
currently
a cloud pillow thing back there. Didn't know.
yes. Always the question is like, oh, is he just a prop? Did she hire him as a paid actor? All right. Well, now that we're leaning a little bit more towards our relevant work and things like that, I want to pivot though to like who we are as people. So, outside of work, which I know is a little bit rare recently with all the knowledge prep work, what do you take pleasure in doing? Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any niche interests that people aren't aware of? Alan, I'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, so I will say I'm a notorious individual who barely ever finishes a video game. So
Oh,
I love the concept of video games. I love the artwork. I'll buy the guidebooks, the collector's editions. I think I just like to enjoy the games themselves, but I for some reason will never I can't finish them. I don't know what that is. I've actually been trying to Google that and look that up and see if it's some kind of condition that I've got or something. I don't know. But that's just one thing. So I like will get a game, I jump in, I can't finish it. The other stuff is I enjoy modding arcade cabinets. So, you know, you go to the
oh,
arcade where you put the coin in and that whole thing. I'm big into modding those. The plan is retirement plan way down the road
mm,
is I want to have an arcade bar. So like a retro arcade bar. So
that's
you come
cool.
in, you pay like $10 to enter, you get unlimited access to all the arcade games, and then in the far back there's like arcade video game themed drinks and you're just kind of hanging out. We'll do like events and fun little gatherings, Smash Brothers tournaments, stuff like that. So I'm prepping for that by getting arcade cabinets and kind of modding them with being able to do multiple games on it or more interesting or unique kind of joysticks and buttons that can accommodate the different types of games that are put on there. So those are just a couple of things outside of work that I'm into. The one other thing is I do like to create and work on synthwave and retrowave music. So it's a different kind of genre that a lot of people may not know about, but it is kind of an 80s themed type of vibe and tempo. And I do use different software like Fruit Loops and Ableton Live to kind of create the
Yeah.
music. Um, I need to actually make a persona for that and put that online somewhere at some point, but that's kind of all little hidden behind the scenes stuff that I'm doing.
How cool. And also it would be create the perfect background music for your arcade bar too.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
And it can function off one another, be perfect. That's so fascinating. I gotta tell y'all, I've never worked for a team that makes me more musically insecure than this community team. I find so many members of this team to be so musically talented, whether vocalists or instrument players or synthwave artists. I am so musically deficient that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't let them know. They'll kick me off. Travis, what are your fun hobbies and interests?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a little bit more boring. I got a 5-year-old, so a lot of my
That's a good
hobbies revolve
hobby.
around chasing him.
Yeah.
And he's like super athletic as a kid, so he loves to run, jump, climb.
Ooh,
I have a particular hobby of doing repairs around the house, reinstalling curtain rods that have been ripped out. But I also enjoy building cabinets and such. So I've been working on building out a set of cabinets for my garage. I like doing woodworking and that sort of thing.
nice.
Just love working with my hands. It's a lot of fun.
Wow.
Uh, and then the other thing is running. So I run like half marathon distances right now, trying to get up to marathon. See, I assure you, it's a hobby and not a form of self punishment.
Are you sure? Because I've tried. I think I got up to doing 10Ks and I was like, this is not for me. This is not Lauren. This is not Lauren. I tried. Because they kept lying to me. They're like, oh, when you hit 5K, you'll get the runner's high. Never happened. When you hit 10K, you'll get the runner's high. Never happened. I think it was either 10 or 15K where I'm like, this is never happening. I am done. And I capitulated entirely.
I definitely shared the Forrest Gump meme this morning. Why are you doing this? Well, I just felt like running.
Hey, how you know what? It is a magnificent hobby. You probably see a lot of you get a lot of outside times. That's probably great doing it. I admire you, sir. I just never synced with me.
Yeah, and then for me with that, to be honest, when I got out of the Marines and getting up at like 4 a.m., I told myself,
Never
yeah,
again.
never again. I'm gonna do it when I want to do it, if I want to do it. And then, funny enough, I do walks and I do runs and all that. I'm definitely not marathon, but yeah, Travis, man, you just embody that spirit, Semper Fi. You just keep on running, and yep, that's awesome.
Helen's like, I will do it for my country, and
I'll
that is
cheer
it.
for you
That's where I
all the
draw the
way.
line.
I got your back, buddy. I'll be at the end with a cup of water and all that good stuff. But good luck.
Here is my favorite kind of final question for the intro part of this is give me a time you thought you almost got fired. This is a question that Chuck and I were asking people, and it was a myriad of takes. Sometimes it was people over focusing on an error and like giving it too much weight. A lot of it was early in career stuff that you just like bumbled through. But I will always frame this as you thought you were going to get fired but then didn't. So nothing HR related, obviously, more so just fun little life stories from your past.
So many to choose from.
So many.
And Travis
Do you
seems
have a
like
favorite?
the quiet guy, but he's like a rebel behind it. He's breaking stuff. He's causing
Yeah.
chaos and all that.
I Before I got into IT, I was the person that would like find the database credentials on the file share and just jump in and go to town. And I was the shadow IT. I was the problem. I was the
You were
problem.
the white hat hacker that was like pin testing all this stuff.
I just assumed that since it was there, like I was allowed to have it. Like,
You know what? If you found it that easily, it is kind of on them.
see. For me, And this is actually how I got started in ServiceNow. Was my first job in IT, I was working at a steel mill.
Mm.
Now, mind you, like I was very much know enough to be dangerous, but not enough to be considered talented. um, and I told the hiring manager this. I was like, look, starting out, it's going to be rough. But if you give me 6 months, like I'm going to work my butt off for that first 6 months. And
Mm.
in 6 months, I will be one of your top people. Like I will commit
Ooh,
to you that I will work to be one of your top people in 6 months. And he was like, all right, let's give him a shot.
I like
But
that.
my direct manager was not in on that conversation, and I was terrible. so my
So you're basically doing two jobs at once, but one kind of poorly.
so my team lead, like we had to go through these XML messages that were going back and forth between our level 2 system and our MES, our manufacturing execution systems. And I didn't know what any of that meant. I didn't know what any of them were. And I'm trying to troubleshoot problems in the XML. And I'm like, I don't even know how to spell that. So so one day he turns around and he comes up to me and he goes, why are you even here?
You're like, well, I'm trying to get
He
this
was like,
other gig.
you can't do this. You can't do that. Why are you even here? And so inside, I'm like, I don't know. I just want to go home. But I turn around and I basically told him the same thing that I told the hiring manager, which was like, I acknowledge that I don't know what I'm doing. But
Oh,
like
wait,
if
this is
you
for the same job? I thought you meant that you were
yes.
doing,
No, no, no.
oh, I thought you were using, oh, okay, I
Sorry,
got. So,
no, no, no.
so you made a big bet of like, I'm gonna be
I
amazing
made a
in
big
6 months with
yes.
no, no
With
background.
I was like, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but if you give me 6 months, I'll get there.
I
And I
thought you were
almost
saying that your
didn't make it
current
like
job
one.
was mad at you for shirking those responsibilities to
No,
focus on
no,
this new
no.
one. Okay, I understand.
Sorry, no. No, I bet big. My mouth was writing checks that my body couldn't cash.
I feel you. I feel you on that one.
And but so I ended up moving over to the night shift where things were a lot slower. I was doing a lot more password resets
Mm,
than and only like a few of the XML problems. And my team lead gave me like a whole bunch of books, and he was like, "Read
nice.
this, read this, read this, and then get back to me." And I was like, "Bet."
What a good team lead though, that he actually gave you productive things
Yes,
to fix versus just like, you're not doing it right. You figure out how to do it
yes.
correctly.
And on night shift, my manager was like, we have this tool called ServiceNow, and we want to do a couple
Mm,
things with it. So while you're there, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at how to do XYZ,
yeah.
and that's how I got into ServiceNow, was almost losing my job
That's
for
amazing
sucking at it.
though. Like that
It was
serendipity,
cool.
you never know. There are no real just like losses. There's always something usually career-wise that you can learn from them or that you can turn them into opportunities. So that's a great one. That's really great.
I am so grateful to them for giving me the chance and the second chance.
Dang.
uh,
Alan, you got a fun story for us?
Well, so first and foremost, I will say, note to self, don't gamble with Travis in Vegas because he just will just start throwing money everywhere and telling everybody, I know it's going to land on black or red,
Yeah.
and then we're going to be on the streets. So that's a good note to have. But for me, mine was a little bit more elementary in terms of ServiceNow knowledge. So when I first started, I didn't understand or know about like relational databases and tables, like how they actually
Mm,
relate. I didn't really know the architecture or what that meant. And
mm,
so I was working a help desk and I had the incidents that were there. And at the bottom, it had all of these tabs that obviously we know as related lists with different types of records on different tables and such.
yeah.
For me, for some reason, I didn't like some of the information that was listed down there. So I would check the boxes next to the records and then delete them because I didn't want them there. I just wanted a clean page with nothing there. And I did not know that I was actually deleting
Deleting.
real records in the platform. So like people's change tickets were missing, people's user records were getting deleted out of there, and no one would know what was happening. And finally, one day, somebody kind of walked it through and was like, I was like, why is everybody freaking out? What is going on? And they were like, yeah, somebody is deleting all these records. And they were like talking to each one of us, just saying, what do you do? Show us how you use the platform. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm on incident. I'm helping people out. I'm solving things. And then I go down here and I don't like that. Get that out. Get that out. And they went, whoa, 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 whoa. Step back. What's this? What's this hand motion mean? I said, that's me deleting it. I'm showing you I'm deleting it. And they were like, yeah, you're deleting the core record, the real thing. And I was like, nah, yeah, get out of here, man.
No.
Stop playing
Like, why
around.
would it be so easy to delete things? I shouldn't even have
Yeah,
the
like why
permission
would
to
that be
delete
there?
things.
And so then he
Yeah.
would show me like, okay, pick one and delete it and now go look for it over in this table. And do you see it there? And I was like, no. And he goes, yeah, because you deleted it. And so that was my start of it. So, that's why a lot of people, when we tell them, get your personal developer instance for free and do the goofball deleting and practicing and stuff there, not in your
Yeah.
obviously your production instance, which was where I was doing it, because I didn't know I was doing the wrong thing, and learn the wrong way there. And then if you mess up and it breaks or something, release it and get a new one. But that's where just understanding, it seems like such a simple thing, like, and it probably still happens today to
Oh,
people,
yeah.
honestly, because it just is a thing.
Also, what a great reminder that not everyone should have delete privileges.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it was their fault.
It
It
is,
was a promise that
kinda.
Travis made. He told them that he could learn it, and they gave him the permission. They gave it to me, and look what happened.
But like, I mean, seriously though, that was one of the first things that we learned in our sysadmin training was ACLs and how little you should be doling out the delete ACL to every Tom, Dick, and Harry at your company. You shouldn't be doing that. So it's not even really your fault, Alan, in my
Thank
opinion. But
you.
that is
I
a
knew
great
it
story.
wasn't me.
Just like
I knew it.
nuking all the ticket, like all the incident tasks. Because I'm like, the approvals, get them out of here. All gone.
Can I do one more?
Yeah, go for it.
I've got a great one for knocking out production instances.
Oh no.
Okay.
So be careful.
Same
Be
company?
careful.
Same company?
Same company.
Did you bankrupt this company? Are they still trading on
Where
the
is
stock
this
market?
steel
Like,
mill
where is it?
today? Like, where are they?
So as I knocked out their production instance for a little bit while I was at Knowledge.
So you couldn't even fix it? You were like in breakouts and stuff like la 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 la.
I did it while in a breakout. So I had just learned how to wrap functions in JavaScript, and I was super excited about this. And so I logged in to try it in a background script, and I was like, I wonder if I could wrap like gr.query. So I was like, ooh, glide record.prototype.query equals function, and then I wrote a function around that. Well, apparently, when you run a background script, that's like transactional, and those functions go away as soon as the background script is over. But assigning the glide record object is permanent; it stays there. So I basically made gr.query undefined for
Unaccessible.
everybody. So you could not query anything, and the whole instance went down. And I was at Knowledge when I did this, and I was like, oh no. I had to call ServiceNow's help desk and have them reboot the instance.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Lauren, and these are your new teammates. We love you.
Yeah. hey, I will say all of our stuff internally is pretty locked down. So I don't know if any of us could ever do that like on Surf or something like that.
And for
That is
those out there
amazing.
that make mistakes, don't worry. You can become a senior developer advocate
Developer
one day too.
That reminds me of my commencement speech. So I was the 100th graduating class from SMU, and George W. Bush, his wife went to SMU. So he was on our campus all the time, and he was our commencement speaker, which was kind of cool. He hadn't done a speech since he was president. And so everyone's kind of like, oh, how's he going to do? Blah, blah, blah. his commencement speech was one of the funniest things I'd ever listened to, because his like ending thesis for the speech, like the last thing he said was like, y'all those A students out there, you probably made a lot of sacrifices. You did real well. You're setting up our country for success. And all you B students, yeah, a little bit more fun, but you're still doing pretty successfully. And all you C students, hell, you could be president like me. And I lost it. And so that reminds me of that. Of like, hey, you can break a ton of stuff, and you can still work for ServiceNow. But it's true. And now another great plug of like, hey, if you're learning a lot of awesome stuff at this year's Knowledge Conference, test it in a PDI. That's what PDIs are here for. It's a great place to test them. You can blow up your PDI and you get a brand new one, no problem. So wait, so you were testing that on prod then?
Yeah. I was a new developer.
Because I'm like, wait, it would be bad to take down dev, but if everyone noticed you took down prod.
It's not the only prod instance I've taken down, so
moving on.
I'm a problem.
Yeah, I don't think he revealed this in his interview process.
You left that out of the interview, Travis. Well,
don't gamble with Travis.
Don't gamble with Travis. Fair enough. And if anything, I don't think we'll have too much time to gamble, because Knowledge is happening. So by the time this episode comes out, Knowledge will be happening in like less than a week away. So let's kind of talk about it. I'm very, very excited. Usually we do an entire episode dedicated to Knowledge, but with now 6 advocates and everyone's crazy schedules, it just was not lining up timing wise, but we can still talk about it. So gentlemen, tell me, how has the experience gone moving from just attending Knowledge as a customer to hosting Knowledge / CreatorCon as a employee? Any radical, insight from that experience so far?
Last year, I did a lab, and I was and doing labs is such an intense experience, and I was like, that was crazy. I have to start a whole lot earlier next year. And then I made the decision of I was actually not planning on going to Knowledge this year, because my wife is going to Italy immediately after, and we were like, probably better off if I stayed home. And so I didn't start early, and then became a developer advocate. Doing the lab was so much easier. This has been crazy.
So for a reference point, when you build a lab as a customer, if you have not done so before, the process kicks off. Usually you get the approval around January or February that your submission was accepted. And so you have anywhere between 2 to 3 months to work on it. We give you a lot of specific deadlines of like when the guidebook should be done, when your PowerPoint should be done, when the setup, if you're doing a lab versus a breakout, when like the setup for your lab instances need to be done. But it is very intensive. Like you basically have like, let's say 70 working days to get it done on top of your already existing job. So it's not like you get time off from your current job to do it. It's a bonus project. So a lot of people even struggle to just do one lab, right? To write one lab. So it's a little different then on this team.
This has been crazy. I mean, it's been a ton of fun, but like it has been, there's so many different angles to cover when you're like putting on the show. Like it is so intense. The C3 app that we've been building has been so much fun crafting those experiences. We have so many conversations about how you all will experience it coming to Knowledge, and how do we make that the best experience.
Pause. Sometimes people don't hang out on LinkedIn in the community as much as we'd like them to. What is C3 this year? It's a new thing.
It is a new thing. So we are introducing some gamification at CreatorCon, where basically you can take a photo of yourself, send it to an AI, and it will generate a hero avatar for you. And then what we will do is we will print out like a Pokemon style card with your avatar on it. And so those have QR codes on them. Different places around CreatorCon will have QR codes on them. And we have kind of a zone capture type gamification going on, where you can go around and scan those codes to earn points, and different teams can take over those zones. So it's sizing up to be a ton of fun. and you should definitely participate. But yeah, so we've been building out the application that does all of that on the ServiceNow platform, and it's been a blast.
Yes, but a lot of work. So not only have you been building a ServiceNow app, but you have been getting things approved by or because like our organization has to approve everything from how
Mhm.
these things will look to how the experience will be produced to the cost of the vendor that is designing X, Y, and Z. So it's not just like build a ServiceNow app and you're done. Like it's a lot more intense.
From the outside, it's here's a PowerPoint presentation with everything you need to make it. Just use that and you're fine. On the inside, it's like, let's be creative and then get the approval from the right people to do it that way. And then have the right conversations. That so much more going into it from the inside that gets prepackaged when you're on the outside. All that work has already been done for you.
Yeah.
So it's been cool.
Very exciting. That's probably so that will kind of be in place of like the Lego experience that we had the previous
Yep.
year at Knowledge 24. So
Oh,
usually on
another great one.
CreatorCon's expo floor, we try to do some big interactive element to attract people to like, hey, come over, hang out with us, join the ServiceNow community. If you haven't already, start building, a network of other developers and technical people, etc. And so this is this year's means of advertising and pushing all that stuff. But I've seen the cards, they look amazing. So do not miss them at CreatorCon. Like, please, 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 if you come to one thing on the expo floor, go to CreatorCon. It's by far the most cool area. And frankly, we're not trying to sell you anything. So we're just here to hang out and have a good time and learn some really awesome ServiceNow stuff. So that always takes the pressure off as well. Alan, how has your knowledge experience been so far? Fun,
Yeah,
exciting, challenging?
when you join the team, I guess you may need to be strategic when you do so, and maybe just a random trivia fact for anyone in the future, maybe don't join like 2 months or so before knowledge because I basically walked into a chaos going on, everything going on, people running all around. It
Mhm.
makes me think of that one like SpongeBob segment where he's like, "What's the name? What's my name? What's my name?" And there's like
Yes.
stuff, everybody's throwing everything everywhere.
We
It's like
threw out his
organized
name.
chaos.
Yeah.
Organized, I will say that way. But for me, it's been just jumping, like, where can I help in different pieces and
Mhm.
hoping that I can. And the team has been fantastic. I'm now leading the third lab in the Builder Track series. And so I will echo Lauren's sentiment about bringing your laptop because, maybe you'll get kicked out. I don't know.
No,
I'll say
no,
that
that's just
she
my
said that was
dream.
allowed, that was approved.
No,
Um,
just my dream.
yeah, so other than that, I've been co-planning and co-leading the hackathon with Travis. So that's been a great
Yes.
experience of just going through that. So I've been taking all of the hackathon instances, wiping them from last year, making sure they're upgraded, and then putting the application and plugin packages installed on them so that people kind of get a jump start when they start the hackathon. They're not having to like install everything. There'll be unique, certain stuff they'll have to do just on based on their needs. But working through that, helping other people with stuff. So it's been a lot of cool knowledge-esque activities going on, and I'm super thrilled for it. As we always tend to say every year, this knowledge is going to be the biggest and best one yet. There's a lot of great stuff. And then for the CreatorCon keynote as well. Like you guys have been doing such awesome stuff. Can't really reveal any secrets there, but I know you, Christy, and Earl got some amazing stuff planned for that. So
We are stoked. I will say too, I didn't think we could do much better than last year. Like last year's keynote went really smoothly. I thought all the guest appearances too did really, really well. Like Pat Casey in particular, he like really did a fantastic fireside chat. But this year, I think we have a chance of possibly even raising the bar more. I do know that I can say this. At our keynote, we will have an experience that none of the other keynotes will have. And I'll leave it at that. I can't spoil anything more, but there is an element to our keynote that is completely unique. So I know it is the last thing on the last day of the conference. It's literally right before the big show at the Sphere. But if you're gonna go to one keynote, I gotta ask y'all to come to ours. Selfishly, I gotta plug our own. It's pretty fun. Okay, We've talked about your awesome backstories. We've talked about knowledge and the kind of the experience of being an advocate at knowledge. I've got to ask you now for a couple of recommendations. So, one thing that I've been trying to do leading up to knowledge is like put out some form of content every working day, the month leading up to it. And so, as you do that, you kind of run out of ideas and you start getting weirder and weirder as the posts go on. And so, one thing that I posted about the other day was like, what are the pump up songs that you listen to before public speaking? And people really seemed to like it. It was like a nice little post, and it made me think more about like, oh, like using music as kind of a nice litmus test for how you feel about things. So I thought we could maybe do a fun little exercise I will call the Breakpoint mixtape. And so I'm going to ask you a couple of prompts, and you're going to give me a song that you think represents that prompt. And at the end, we can kind of put these into like a little Spotify playlist or something like that. And we can see how it grows over time as well. So, in the spirits of kind of keeping with my first endeavor into this, do you have a song that you use to really pump you up before a public speaking thing? Or rather, something that calms you down before it? Because that can kind of depend on how you personally attune yourself to public speaking.
For me, there is no calming down before public speaking, like feet are paddling under the water. So for the pump up, it's gotta be "Remember the Name" by Fort Minor.
Oh, that's a good one. That's like what we would listen to during field hockey season in high school.
Absolutely.
All those anime like OP remixes they would do for like Naruto on the early YouTube to that song.
So
Good one.
solid.
Alan, what is your pump ups or relaxation, Zen perhaps for you?
Yeah, so I kind of have two different ways that I normally go about this,
Mm.
depending on how the day has gone and what I need. But one of the songs would be it's we're kind of dipping into the old school bin here, also with Eminem, "Lose Yourself." Right, so that was
Mm.
like a big song. I did soccer, volleyball, stuff like that. And so before matches, I'm like, "Mom, spaghetti," and I'm like going around. I'm doing all that, getting ready and stuff. So I still kind of lean back to that just to remember all of the things I've been through to get ready and all the years of, just preparation and this is the big moment and that kind of thing. So that's one. The other takes a bit of a weird turn a little bit. So I'm one of those like in when chaos is going on, I like to
Mhm.
listen to like classical music to act
Ah,
like I have control on the situation. So I think of it like in the movie like Joker and stuff like that, where like all this stuff's going on and he's just like la, 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 and like it's like fireballs going everywhere, papers
yeah.
are flying. And I feel like that is a way to, you know, just contradict what's going on and just saying, hey, hold on a second, you can actually just calm it down and control it. So it depends on like how prepared I am, but those are the two kind of angles that I go. So no specific classical music. I kind of just search Spotify or something for like a classical playlist and
Yeah.
just kind of run that. But that's what I do.
Awesome. Those are two very good ones. Very, very good ones. So I like the early 2000s throwback for the pump up ones. I mean, it's hard to beat those two. Okay. Next one. Do you have a song that you would say describes your vibe as a developer advocate? I would say, like, for example, the one I picked for this prompt was The Greatest Show from the amazing but not historically accurate musical The Greatest Showman. Because I really like the artistry of like edutainment and hyping people up. So that would be mine. Do you have one that comes to mind for you?
I got two.
Ooh, okay.
I got two looks, and that's it.
I get to.
Uh, um, and this is not so much from the lyrical standpoint, but more from the musical standpoint.
Mm,
I don't know. The first one might be lyrical standpoint. Three Small Words off the Josie and the Pussycats soundtrack.
I don't know that song.
Well, it kicks off, "I'm a punk rock prom queen." So,
I
I
think it
feel
is
like
lyrically accurate for you, Travis.
I had second thoughts on that one. I was like, no, that one actually is for the lyrical content at the start, because that one just encapsulates me being a problem. Uh, and then the second one, Alan, you mentioned this one earlier that people tend to think that I'm a relatively quiet guy, and that does actually check out a lot of the time. So I'd have to go with "Lover" by Taylor Swift on that one.
It's a good song.
Very mellow.
Yeah, very nice. Like it. Anything come to mind? Inspiration has struck you, perhaps?
Not on me, no. Just still
Okay.
the it's really
I
still
won't
just
bully you into
limited
picking one.
to just synthwave, retrowave music. I mean, if you look up, if you want to get into that genre, I would look up Kavinsky is
I
an
love
artist that
Kavinsky
that has
from
songs as like
Drive.
Overdrive. There's a couple other ones that are good. If you like Tron, the movie Tron, or the new Tron that's going to be coming out soon, you're gonna see this retro wave kind of synthwave come back up again. So you can kind of get ahead of it and say you were cool and listen to cool things before it became cool again for the 80th time.
Awesome. Well, my final prompt, specifically since you were the two gentlemen that are kind of really heading up this year's hackathon, I want y'all to pick a song that they could listen to during the hackathon. So in previous years, our poor hackathon has been a bit tortured because karaoke used to be doing at the same time. So, so instead, if they were prepping a nice little playlist to be listening to while they're coding, do you have any recommendations? My song of choice when I would be working on developer projects, it is a song from the Death Note anime. It's called El No Theme, and it's basically just like Tubular Bells from the movie. What was that? The Exorcist, but it's like more like Alan said, like it's more synthy. But it's the theme for that detective, and it's nice, peaceful, but like kind of intense. So that's my recommendation.
So I'll fill in here for this one. I'm gonna say, and I just love to challenge status quo and the norm, I guess, but I'm actually gonna say take the headphones off and listen
Ooh,
to your team member so that you can do a great job. Because I think if you're on a team and somebody's got their headphones on and they're jamming out, unless you've really decided on every person's role and what they're going to do and you can just run and do that, good luck, but I feel like the feedback that has been given was to remove those kinds of distractions, get karaoke as far away, and really allow the team to converse, because it could be the first time that they're even working together. They may not
true.
know how each other operate from different companies. Who knows? And so I'm going to be the little party pooper here and say, listen to your teammates, okay, everybody?
That's not party pooping. That's great. That's fantastic advice, because you're right. The only times where apps are truly built in complete homogeny and it's a completely baked product is when people communicate together. So that is good recommendation.
Especially towards the end, you got to get some rage music going.
Rage music.
I don't know, like
As you're just like, typing.
yeah.
Like buzzer beater song to like as it's like the last 30 minutes they're just polishing stuff up. What do they put on?
Limp Bizkit break stuff. I don't know.
Why? That should be when you're wrapping stuff up with a bow and it's all nice and neat. And then don't be on Travis's team. If he comes around as a guru to help you, just tell him get away. Tell him to get away.
That's what we need, like Debussy, or how do you pronounce that? Debussy? Like Claire de Lune, you need something peaceful and like da da da, and he's like, no, Limp Bizkit, baby,
Avenged Sevenfold, let's go.
I was waiting for him to say like System of a Down, something crazy.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, what a triumphant note to end on. Gentlemen, it has been so fun talking with you today. This was a great episode to bring Breakpoint back on. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you, wonderful listener, for joining us here today. Do not forget to check out the other ServiceNow podcasts. You can find them at servicenow.com/community under the events menu, peculiarly. Subscribe to this podcast if you have not already. You can do so on the auditory versions on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, etc. Or you can do it if you're watching the video version right here on our YouTube channel. Breakpoint is brought to you by ServiceNow with executive producer me, Laura McManaman. And to find out more about the ServiceNow Developer Program and maybe to get yourself a PDI of your own, go to developer.servicenow.com. Thank you again for joining us here. Have an awesome day. Bye.
Please let us know what you think about this podcast. You can leave feedback or ask questions in the ServiceNow community. For more great information on ServiceNow development, check out the ServiceNow developer portal at developer.servicenow.com. Thanks for listening.